Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course.
Hold on, somebody's at my door.
Okay, we are live. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast, episode number 406. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I guess I'm not joined by Tanner, my friend and former co-host, because someone's at his door at the perfect time. So that doesn't matter, though, and welcome to the show. Today, we will be doing an episode. Now, normally on Saturdays, what we do is kind of come up with a topic relating to the video game in some respect. And if you've been listening for a while, you've probably already noticed this, where it's more freeform, basically, and conceptual than our Thursday episodes. Thursdays, we cover news, patches, upcoming changes, things like that. And then on Saturday, it's kind of like our own thoughts. That's like the whole episode. So that's where we do first impressions. It's where we do like tips and tricks kind of episodes, camo grind episodes, things like that. Today, however, we will not be doing any of that because there is not too much going on, nor has there been, for us to sink our teeth into. We will be getting Season 2 Reloaded pretty soon. And by next week, we'll have a lot to talk about for Saturday. But given the lull in the schedule, in the podcast recording schedule, what we're going to do today is catch up on some Q&A. So every once in a while, we do Q&A episodes on Saturdays. And that's what we're going to do today. So we have a Discord, which you should join. And we have a Q&A questions channel, which anyone can ask questions in of us. And they can be about anything. So Q&A episodes are always a mixed bag in terms of the topics. So some of this will undoubtedly be about Call of Duty. Some of this will undoubtedly not be about Call of Duty. Obviously, it depends on the questions we are asked. So, point of warning, if you are only interested solely in Call of Duty content, you might want to skip this episode because not every question is going to be about Call of Duty. But again, a number of them I'm sure will be. Again, if you want your question answered next time, join the Discord. You can ask a question in there. We're not guaranteed to answer it. We don't answer every question. It has to be a good question. But if it is, we will answer it. And today, that is what we are doing. So, other than that, as far as announcements go, just again, a quick reminder, all of our bonus episodes, Patreon episodes, are up for the month of February, for those of you who are patrons. And if you're not a patron, you become one, and you get access to every bonus episode we've ever done for that tier. So you don't you don't miss out on the February ones if you join in March, for example. And we did behind the scenes for our Damascus patrons. That was really good. And then again, for our gold patrons, so every tier, we did, oh my goodness, what did we do? Oh yeah, Urzikstan ranked like prep, which I thought went exceptionally well. So, yeah, you guys can go listen to that. We talked about it already in our last episode, but just a quick reminder once again that you could do that if you want. So with that said, without further ado, let's get into, because I don't think we have really any other announcements right now, some questions. So first one here is from Nicole, and she asks, if you were a character in a video game, what quest would the player have to complete in order to unlock you? Okay, interesting question. And that depends a lot on the type of video game we're talking about. So for example, in Call of Duty, you can unlock characters in that video game by doing like little challenges. So, or just buying Black Cell, then you get all the operators, but that would not be how you unlock me. So for example, I remember there have been, and probably still are every year, operators that require you do like 15 finishing moves on enemies, and then you unlock like Krieger or something. And that's like the cool looking stealth dude or whatever. So if we're talking COD, if I were a COD operator, what would you have to do? Boy, I want to say like shoot the bodies of 100 opponents, or, you know, type 50 insults in public match lobbies. But that wouldn't be very easy to track. So, ooh, you know what mine would be for COD? Because back when I used to play on keyboard and mouse, I was a shotgun connoisseur. So it would be get 20 kills in Warzone, hip firing a shotgun. That would be how you unlock me in Call of Duty. Because that used to be my thing back when I was a stupid person playing on keyboard and mouse. Now that I'm a controller, it doesn't matter. But that would still be how you unlock me. And then other video games, there's like way different ways to unlock people, you know? So like if you're playing an RPG, usually like you get to this area and then you do a quest and unlock someone. I don't know what that would be, but yeah, I guess we'll leave it at Call of Duty for now. All right, moving on. Next question. Let's see.
Yeah, do we have another question at all?
Yeah,
Let's take
I don't
a peek.
know. That's a great question. I just want to read this because this is a good point, Jitsi. More of a talking point than a question, I guess. I don't know why you said it in Q&A, but it's a good PSA. Trackers should show a trail behind people swimming. True. And armor-piercing rounds should shoot through riot shields. That wouldn't matter, but I guess that would be cool also. I'm never running an attachment to kill people with riot shields. Just take riot shields out of the game. But tracker should absolutely show a trail behind people swimming. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that really makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it should even like almost like highlight people in the water or something, you know what I mean?
Something similar.
Almost
yeah,
like
exactly.
a combat scout type highlight or something, like Caldera combat scout. Yeah, that's a great idea. Solid idea.
Yeah. So it'll never happen. Jitsi had another question. Raz, that's me. How long ago did you train BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and why did you quit? I'll answer this as quickly. My first job was when I was 16, because I had been doing karate for a number of years by then. And then I became an assistant instructor, and then I started teaching myself. But anyway, in the course of that, the owner of the school, like my teacher at that dojo, was like a real martial artist. He was a cool guy. Shout out Sensei Mark. And he trained jiu-jitsu himself at like a dedicated jiu-jitsu school. And he would teach his like brown and black belts that. And I started training as soon as that school opened. So I was like one of the highest ranked students at the school. So I was one of those. So he like trained a lot of jiu-jitsu, and he would teach us a little bit. So I guess I started doing it probably around 19 or 20, but that was like from a blue belt at a karate school. So it wasn't like, you know, super dedicated training or whatever. Anyway, I go off to, I work a different job. I go to college. I come back, and then I started training again, but at the same school my teacher had originally taught at. So I went to a dedicated jiu-jitsu school, and then I was there for 2 years, maybe about 2 years, probably. I got my blue belt with 1 stripe. So that's, for any of you familiar with jiu-jitsu, that's decent. You know something. You're pretty much strangling every white belt if you're a blue belt. Which, yeah, is just true. And I quit because, well, I was doing a full-time job. So I was working 40 hours a week. Plus I was doing this podcast. So that was another like 25 hours a week. So I was just working a lot. And then doing jiu-jitsu classes on top of that at like 6:30 or 7 at night. It was a lot. It was really tiring. And in addition, that school was very tournament focused. So there was just a lot of like going to tournaments, training for tournaments, super hardcore like classes. And that made it even more tiring. And I didn't care about like competing. So our instructor would want us to be going to like every single tournament. I was like, dude, I don't want to. I don't have like the time. I don't have the inclination. There are weight classes in jiu-jitsu too. So if I wanted to be really good and take it seriously, I would have either had to have been cutting weight or gaining weight by like lifting. And it was just all, I was just like, I'm over it. So I basically,
I don't remember you
lazy.
doing it during the pod. I remember you doing it during BO4 because there were certain nights where like you wouldn't be on BO4 because you were like going to jiu-jitsu or you would hop off. I remember that. See, I don't think you did it too long when we were doing the pod, right? You probably stopped after a few months or something.
It was early.
Yeah.
Maybe I even didn't do it at all during the pod, but I thought I did. But
you probably did
way,
really early on, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it was just mainly because of that.
Wait, what about COVID? COVID would have shut them down at some point anyways.
It was way before COVID I stopped, yeah. I think. No, it wasn't.
No, because we started the pod 2 months
No, it wasn't.
before. So that's what I'm saying. You probably
You're
did it
right.
for like 2 or 3 months during doing the pod too or something. And then because they probably closed down for a year or so.
They did not. Actually,
Really?
I remember that. Yeah.
They just kept it on the DL.
Our teacher was like, he is not a liberal. The guy that runs that school, he's pretty conservative. I'm friends with him on Facebook, so you would see that kind of stuff.
Facebook memes, yeah.
Not a boomer, but like he makes it obvious that he's like a proud, like proud Mexican American, but a patriot Mexican American.
Got it. Yeah.
Really, pretty conservative, which by the way, a lot of Mexican Americans are pretty conservative because they're Catholic. So anyway, I don't know if he was Catholic or not, but anyway, he was not shutting the school down. He was like, look, if you guys don't want to come in, I get it, but we're not doing classes. Yeah. That's insane. So you
Feds should have raided him and shot him in my opinion.
Not doing he was like, we're not doing anything other than like cleaning a little more diligently than we used to, which was already quite diligently.
Yeah.
So I was like based. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's why I quit. I enjoyed it a lot, and I was in really good shape too. It's really, really fun doing jiu-jitsu, but it's also a huge commitment. It's also expensive, by the way. If any of you were thinking of doing jiu-jitsu, I think it's a great thing to do. And if you have kids, I think it's a really, really great thing to do, especially if you have daughters, because you're training how to kill people when you're on the ground grappling. So that's about the worst situation an untrained young woman can be in. So if you train her to be an assassin, she's not getting, R-worded. I don't want to get demonetized ever. And it was crazy sparring with like high rank girls because they would just strangle you unconscious. Like, and they weighed 90 pounds. It was emasculating, but eventually you just get over it. But it's crazy how effective it is. But anyway, yeah, that's why I was lazy. TLDR. Moving on. Fat Benji. What do you call the final meal of the day? I almost don't want to answer this because it's so obvious, but there are 3 options provided: supper, dinner, or din-din. Okay.
It's dinner, obviously. Supper is if, let's see, who, okay, Bates voted supper, so he's just lying. And Jitsi voted supper. He's also lying. I don't believe Jitsi calls it supper. To me, supper is something they say in the Midwest, isn't it? So I kind of expected more votes for that, since 90% of our patrons live in Wisconsin, Minnesota, or Michigan. I expected a lot of supper votes because I feel like those regions, that's what they use, but I guess not. It's, of course, dinner, and I strongly dislike the word supper. Yeah, it's not a great word. It's a miserable word, actually.
Yeah, supper it's obviously dinner. Yeah, I'm not sick, so I don't call it din-din. And yeah, I don't know who calls it supper. I don't know what region that is, but secede if you're from that region. Secede. I don't want you in my country. It's called dinner. Yeah. So anyway.
Midwest and the American South. Oh yeah, maybe it's down south they call it supper. Yeah, them Southern boys too.
What's for supper?
Pop probably like unironically says supper.
What's for supper, Pa?
Yeah.
Oliver Twist might.
You know how a lot of people, primarily
States,
women, don't like the word moist? That is supper for me. Don't like hearing it.
That bad.
Don't like the spelling. Don't like how it sounds. Don't like what it stands for. I'm a supper hater, man. Pretty much that simple.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Jitsi, I'll quickly answer this as well. How much of an advantage, if any, is it to play on a PC with a controller versus on a console? Example, better ping, FPS filters, etc. Depends on the console, obviously, but I don't think it's actually that big of an advantage these days. If you have a PS5, either, you're already pushing 120 frames at 120 hertz. You get the wider field of view. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you're missing out on the audio tuning stuff people use. So actually, maybe it is a pretty big disadvantage. But outside of that, it's just third-party stuff that you're missing out on. So I guess there is an advantage to playing on PC. I have the option to use those things or not. It's always better to play on a PC, assuming it's a good PC. I'm pushing way more frames than a PS5. My refresh rate's way higher than a PS5. And if I wanted to, I could use NVIDIA filters, which isn't really necessary in this game. Or, the like SteelSeries sonar, which we've talked about, or the Art is War audio tune thing, which we've also talked about. But in my view, the audio is so good right now that I find it somewhat hard to believe the Art is War audio tune would make me hear things I'm not hearing already. Although I guess it's possible. And then the filters, again, I just don't think are really necessary. So the only thing I'm getting is more frames, which is a big advantage, but 120 to like 240, I mean, I'd rather have 240, but it's not a big difference. Yeah, it's not a big difference.
Consoles also don't crash like PCs.
Yeah, consoles are also just super easy to use. Once you're at 100 plus frames, 120 plus frames, you're good. Unless you're like a professional player, 120 frames and refresh rate is enough. Yeah. You're not going to notice the difference between 120 and like 240. You might notice it actually, but it's not going to make you perform any better. Whereas going from 60 to 120 you'll actually perform better on 120. But I don't think that performance benefit is really going to exist from 120 to 240 unless you're an exceptional player. And you're like 16 with that reaction time. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like a common misconception that a lot of very low skilled players in general think. They genuinely think you get more aim assist on PC than console. That is just not true at all. Not even close to being true. So that's kind of like the biggest thing. Like in a 1v1 shipment gunfight, that person, whether the person you're playing is on a console with a controller or a PC with a controller, it's not making a single difference in that situation. It's like normal gunfights, nothing is different in most situations. Yeah, there are things you can do on PCs, of course, like you just talked about, filters, audio stuff, but it's like, I mean, we don't even do any of that.
Yeah, it's just not necessary right now, I don't think.
Especially not visual filters, but
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Let's see. Would you rather have a clone of yourself or an android butler? From Anarchist.
What is an android butler? Is that a thing?
It's not yet. It's just like a robot, but it's like really smart. You ever seen that video game like Detroit Become Human?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are like androids. They're like,
yeah. Okay. So it's
they're
just
synthetic people, but they like are indistinguishable from real people, basically.
Yeah. So
and
it's
you
just
own one as a butler.
A robotic butler or a clone of myself. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, because if you're cloning yourself, you can do two things at once that you would normally do because it's an exact clone of yourself.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, it's almost like, why would you even do the robot? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. The clone can be doing the podcast while I'm sipping Mai Tais on a beach somewhere. You know what I mean? Whereas if I have the butler, that can't happen. So I think I'm taking a clone of myself, actually. Yeah.
The thing for me is, if I could just make the clone do literally anything I tell it to, I'd probably take the clone. But I know myself. And, you know, I'm going to have to like, just everything I like do, I'm going to have to do like for two people now, you know? I don't know.
You'd have to
twice
order
the amount of food.
You'd have to place 2 DoorDash orders instead of 1.
Right. And,
I wouldn't want to have your clone. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I would of course not want your clone.
You should get a butler, man.
I'd rather have a pet Gila monster than a clone of you. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. That's cool, man.
Android butler's no maintenance. Clone of myself, he'd want to like do things rather, have fun, you know.
You'd have to put a setup right next to yours.
Yeah, that's why I said it depends on if I can just make it do stuff or not. Because if I can't, then I'm obviously taking the Android butler. Yeah.
Well, I think you can make it do stuff. It's just it's limited to what you would usually do. So it's not like your clone is going to suddenly start cooking like gourmet meals. So like I think, yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. That's a tough one. I would take either though, but probably the clone.
Yeah,
just because you can have them do something while you're doing your own thing. You know. Biggie asked if they should put a riot shield on your back. Wait.
Remove riot shields.
Should or will Call of Duty ever make it that when you have a riot shield on your back, you are not protected by some turtle shell? Oh, they won't ever do it. Yeah. Every single year that a new Call of Duty comes out and they continue to add riot shields in the game, I'm just always extremely confused by it. Very, very confused by it. So it's unfortunately, yeah, it needs to like break or something if it's on your back. It should take like 3 bullets or something and then it just breaks. I don't know. There are a million things they could do that's a lot better than what they have now. But yeah, having the right shield on the back is just completely ridiculous in multiplayer.
Yep. It sure is. It's insane that it works. Yeah. Jitsi, what singular, relatively unknown person, this is a hard question, has had the most profound effect on the course of human history, excluding Gavrilo Princip? I don't know who that is. That name sounds familiar.
That's
though.
what I thought too. I figured you would know who that person is, but that name does sound familiar. Of course.
Oh, he started World War One.
Oh, okay.
He's the guy who shot
assassinated
Franz Ferdinand.
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Okay, well, you gave me an easy hint to the answer. Adolf Hitler's mother. Whoever that is, I have no idea. She's relatively unknown. She's had a profound effect on human history for having that child. That's my answer. This is hard because you have to pick someone relatively unknown. If someone's had a profound effect on human history, they're pretty well known usually, you know?
Yeah.
Like Newton.
I'm going to say, yeah, that's why that's a hard question. I'm going to say Rex Davis, who apparently was the founder of the ATF, abolished the ATF. So Rex Davis.
Oh, yeah. L. Rex Davis. Yeah. Yeah, big L. Whose name, by the way, Rex? Is that short for something?
No, that's just a name.
Bro is playing an MMO with that name, Rex. Rex Davis. That's a character creation video game.
It is, yeah.
Right?
Yep. It's something like that.
I've never heard of anyone named Rex in real life. I've heard it in video games, though. Yeah, don't call yourself Rex. Of course, that guy with that name.
Hold on. I don't think that's who founded it. Whoever founded that, though, I guess he's just the guy that made it. That's when it became an independent bureau that was under the leadership of him. So it's not him. Never mind. It's whoever started it, that person, though.
Yes, of course. Naturally. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here?
Yeah, let's take a peek.
This is a good one from Grim. If you got in an accident and had one or both arms amputated, would you still game as a hobby or give it up? It's crazy to see some of these streamers like Rocky No Hands or Nomad who figure it out by other means. I've actually thought about this.
Those guys, though, I think were born without that. So they don't know any different. They don't know any different. Being in an accident and having them amputated, I think you would just give it up. Yeah, you know how frustrating that would be, like knowing what your skill set was before and then starting over from scratch.
Yeah, I know.
So I would absolutely just give it up. Yeah, I don't know how those guys do it, but again, that's just the way they were born for most of the ones I've seen. So that's kind of, they know how to operate that way, but it is shocking to see how good those people are.
Yeah. There are a lot of factors. So if I lost both arms, boy, I don't know. I don't know what devices exist. I know there's something you put in your mouth and you can you could put like a little thing in your mouth and you can like basically treat it as a right analog stick so you can move your character around. So like if I lost only my left arm, I could easily play an FPS. Well, not easily, but I could play an FPS that way still. Because my right arm, I would unfortunately have to go back to keyboard and mouse, which is a worse handicap than only having one arm, by the way.
Okay.
But that aside, in Call of Duty anyway. Right hand would stay on the mouse, and then left hand would be controlled by my mouth. I'd be able to move around that way. I'd have to figure out some other keybinds though, I guess, like jump. I don't know exactly how that thing works, but I've seen it.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
But losing both arms, man, is there a device where you could like game? So that's the other thing. Like, I almost certainly wouldn't give up gaming. I would just have to narrow the types of games I play. Because like a lot of the games I enjoy playing, I could play them with Helen Keller could play them probably. Like turn-based RPGs, it's like you could take all the time you need. So like if there's a way to control the interface like the computer, there's a way to play the game. And you wouldn't be limited at all. You could do just as well playing Pathfinder with no arms as you can with 2. But like, would I be playing COD with no arms? No, I'm done. See ya. I'm done playing FPS games. It would be way too frustrating and difficult. Yeah. Like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, thank God for skill-based matchmaking, man. You'd be in those super protected lobbies.
Yeah.
God bless SBMM.
WSBMM. But anyway, let's move on. Looking for other questions here.
Talar asks if it would be if it would make the best financial sense to bring back Verdansk. Absolutely, yeah. Of course it would. It would draw a ton of hype, yes. Which is why they will be doing it, yeah.
Yeah, they will. It's not like they're never going to. They will.
Probably the end of this year, yeah. That's what it's kind of looking like. It's what some people have been saying, so we'll see.
Yeah. Next one's from Nicole. This one's kind of good. Ignoring the need to care for them, smell them, the danger, laws, etc. So if you could have any exotic animal as a pet without having to deal with it at all, what would it be? It's actually a good question.
Yeah, but then it kind of like at that point I'd take so many of them because there are no side effects, you know. But maybe like a black cougar or something because they're kind of cool looking. Them black things. That'd be neat. Having like a gator in the backyard, like transforming my backyard into a swamp and just having a pet gator, that'd kind of be cool. I hate them. I absolutely am scared of them and I do not like them at all. But it would be kind of interesting to just have hanging out in the backyard, you know?
A gator or a croc? What
either.
Are we thinking?
I'll take either. Probably a croc, but...
Yeah, if you want to scare people, you got to go croc. And they are scary.
Yeah.
By the way, it doesn't make sense that they bite hard. Because their stupid mouths are so narrow and long. I feel like there can't be like bite force there. Like it must be super weak. I know it's not, but it doesn't look like they can. It looks like they can't bite hard, even though I know obviously they can.
Yeah.
Their mouths are so long and narrow.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you have like...
Well, I mean, they're not
power?
Narrow. I guess they're narrow compared to how long they are, sure, but they're definitely not narrow.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean, the things are still what?
They're wider than my mouth. That's true.
I would say minimum. They're probably 12 inches at least minimum. How wide are they actually? How
depends on the
wide
animal.
Is a alligator's?
But yeah, well, at the tip or the base, that's the other thing.
At the widest point, I'm thinking.
Yeah, definitely a foot minimum for a lot of them, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, crocs are creepy little guys, man.
Dude, there is I saw this TikTok of this guy who was like, yo, you guys should get some infrared sunglasses. Check this out. And he's in like Florida or something, somewhere where there are alligators. And it's winter at the time I'm watching this TikTok. So he's at like some swampland, but it's frozen, solid. So the swamp is totally frozen. And he's showing a video of the water from his phone, no glasses on. And then he puts the glasses over his phone camera. And all of a sudden, you see like 5 crocodiles or alligators probably, under the frozen lake with only their little nostril holes like poking above. And you wouldn't notice them unless you had like the glasses on. But there are like a ton of alligators just in hibernation. Or I think there's a different word for what they're doing in that case. But I guess that's a thing alligators do, is they'll just be like, all right, I'm just going to chill underwater, keep my nose up so I can breathe. My heart rate's going to be like 1 beat per 10 minutes. and I'll just
Chill.
I'll keep eating. I'll chill, literally. Yeah, I'll keep eating once the water thaws again. It was very crazy. It was a crazy video.
They're creepy, man. They are creepy.
Yeah, they're not cool.
Like,
not a
if
fan.
you had to choose between being lost in the middle of like a thick forest, a thick jungle, or like a thick ass swamp, I'm not choosing the swamp.
Swamp
man.
is always last.
They are
last.
so scary, dude. They're so creepy. God, they're creepy.
Yeah. Swamp is always last place.
Yeah. Like a swamp at night floating through there like in a little boat. Ugh. That's why everyone in Florida is insane, man. You have to be insane to live anywhere near there.
You got to be wilding out for sure. Yeah. So for my exotic animal, I think I'd pick an elephant because they're really smart.
They're cute. Yeah, they're real cute too.
They're cute. They're really smart. And they're cool too.
They are.
Like if you're nice to it, it'll be chill with you. It'll be like, "What's up, dude?"
You can ride it.
There are like a bunch of stories of elephants like helping people.
Oh yeah.
In different ways. Like because they're really smart, so they know how to help you really well, or they know how to mess with you. I was listening to a podcast once, and this guy was like, this elephant in this area or whatever learned that this Jeep would come through with like, I don't know what it was, watermelons or something. And the Jeep would drive like to some other village to sell watermelons every day. So this elephant comes up to it once and it's like, oh, eventually it learns the Jeep comes through here every day or whatever to like go to the other village to sell watermelons. I like watermelons. So then one day the Jeep's going through the road and the elephant's just standing, man, in the road. And the Jeep like tries to drive around it and the elephant just doesn't let it. And then the guy like gives him a watermelon or 5 or whatever. And then the elephant's like, all right, you can go. And then it gets out of the road and the Jeep drives across the road. And then every time the guy or the Jeep driver would want to go to the other village, he would just bring like 5 extra watermelons because the elephant would do it every time. Something like that. That's not exactly the details, but it was something like that. But I was like, dude, that's cool. That's funny. It's like a smart animal. It'll like hold you up. Oh, I think it was like it threatened to tip a car or something. I don't know. Anyway, but there are like, other stories too of like a little Jeep that like falls on its side and the elephant will just come through and just like put it upright for them.
They're so smart, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be a cool one. I think I'd do that.
Yeah, elephants are great. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There are a lot of animals I would like to choose.
There are a lot of cool ones. Yeah. If you don't have to put up with any of the like caretaking or anything, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
I saw another a TikTok today or yesterday. And I'd seen the video before, but oh no, it was on Twitter actually. And it said, these are the final moments of 2 men and their dog before they were viciously all mauled to death by a bear. And the video is they're in like this, I don't know if it's a tent or cabin situation, what the deal is, but it didn't matter because you see a bear come up. And I was like, that thing's kind of small, but it is brown looking. Looks like a brown bear. And then the dog is like, you know, getting in its face, trying to scare it away or whatever. And that lasts for like 30 seconds. The bear like kind of like curious, backs up, curious, backs up. And they're on like the edge of a hill. And then 30 seconds, 40 seconds goes by. You see another bear come up. And it's another like same size bear. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then you see another bear come up.
Oh no.
And it's the mother bear. And I was like, oh, okay. That's why they look small, because they're children.
Yeah.
This is a real brown bear. And it's like 3 times as big. It's obviously massive. And then the dog one more time goes out to like confront them. And then the bear, the mom bear, starts charging. And then the guy puts his camera down, obviously. So like you just see it swing, and then and then the video ends. And then, you know, they all died. All of them died. And that someone found their corpses and that phone and uploaded the video to the internet. Scary. Really scary. Ugh. And it's so big, dude. Bears are so scary.
Doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
I'd still rather face that than take a boat ride through a swamp. I'd rather go head to head with a bear, I think, man. Oh,
At least you aren't like waiting in anticipation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like they're just gonna pop out. It's not like creepy. It's just scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Distortion asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how humble are you? Is stay humble serious or sarcastic?
I don't know how the stay humble even started. I think he had been saying that. Didn't you say that on your old YouTube videos or something?
Maybe.
I don't even remember how or why it started.
I have no idea
I have
why.
absolutely no clue. Yeah, no.
I have no idea why I started saying it, but it stuck. On a serious note, I am fairly humble depending on the topic. I think I have a very good grasp of my strengths and weaknesses. I think that's the thing. So like, if I'm not good at something, I will be the last one to pretend I am. And I hate people that are not. And those are the people that need to stay humble. So for example, if I like know how to change my oil in a tire and I go to a mechanic because I need a new, you know, gasket, I'm not gonna pretend to know what the best course of action is to repair or swap out this gasket just because I know how to do a couple things with a car. And in my case, I don't know how to do anything with a car. So I'm like, yep, okay, whatever. Super humble. I don't know anything. But on things I do know something about, I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I'm not humble, I guess. But I still have I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of how knowledgeable I am about something or how good I am at something. And I think I act appropriately. On the other hand, though, literally everyone on Earth would say that. So who knows, you know, but yeah.
Yeah.
I just find people that like pretend they know everything about everything, even though they very obviously don't. These are the worst people. I've told this story before, but when Tanner and I pretty recently were in Vegas.
That liar, dude. He's such a liar.
It just drives me insane. We're in Vegas and there's some like friend of a friend there, and he asked like, oh, what we do or whatever. And we're like, oh, we do a podcast about Call of Duty. And he was like, oh, sick, man. Yeah. I play Warzone. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was excited. I was like, what's your KD? Do you know? He's like, oh yeah, it's 4.5. Something like that. Something outrageous. I don't remember the number, but let's say 4.5. And I was like, wow, that's really good. What's your favorite gun right now? Like, what's your gun setup to use? And then he said something absurd. I don't remember what it was, but it was immediately obvious. There's no way this guy's a 4.5 KD player. Like, imagine he had said something like the AN-94 with iron sights and like no extended mag. That was like the caliber of gun build he gave me. I was like, oh, you're just lying to me. Like, did you not think I would know that you're just lying?
I wanted to say
there's a 0% chance that guy's KD is that high.
I want to say it was like in Caldera when we talked to him, and I swear he like, oh man, or like at the very end of Verdansk, maybe like when the AMAX hadn't been meta or anybody used it for a long time, he had said like the AMAX or something. It was something like that where it wasn't like an outrageous gun. It was just a gun that nobody used anymore. That's what it was. It was like, it was a meta gun at one point, I think, because it made sense for like a previous time where it's like, okay, have you not launched the game for a year? It was like one of those things, but it was just like very obvious. He was talking about other things too. And it's like, you're just lying. You're so obviously lying. And he like didn't know some basic things about the game. Yeah, I mean, this was probably like the end of 2021. I'm trying to think when Joey got married. It was at the end of 2021 because I think Joey got married in 22. So it was like October of 21. So, yeah, I mean, he was just lying for no reason, man.
It's just crazy. He thought he could get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, he knew he was lying, so why are you lying to me? Like,
exactly.
It was just so weird.
So my thing is, I genuinely think I am extremely humble. Like, what a lot of people don't understand is, like, most things I say, it's, like, sarcastic. And some people can't pick up on sarcasm very well. That's just, like, how, like, my mom is extremely sarcastic. My grandpa was that way. So, like, that's just how I grew up, I feel like. So I, like, understand it. And some people just can't pick it up. But, like, in all reality, I am humble. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people are overly full of themselves. Even when they're good at something, it pisses me off to no end when somebody is extremely full of themselves because they're a little bit better at something. Like, that just irritates the hell out of me, man, you know?
Yeah, but, it does.
Like, even when people are good at COD and they're like, they really rub it in and they really care about certain things. I'm like, why are you, like, genuinely, I normally look at that and I think, you had some sort of issue growing up, like some sort of family issue that made you this way to want to prove and show off ridiculous things that in all reality don't matter that much because you had something go wrong in your childhood. So you're trying to compensate for that. That's usually what I end up thinking. But it's like, yeah.
True too, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Like these kids that I grew up with, so full of themselves, and it always irritated the hell out of me. But it's like, we were friends for a long time. They were neighbors, but it always just bugged me so much, man. And I don't like them. Like, to this day, I can't listen to them talk because of how annoying they are and how full of themselves are. And like, they've done really well for themselves, but I just don't care because of how irritating they've always been and how it's always about them. And, oh, I'm the best at this, or, oh, I'm the best at this. I'm like, dude, shut up. I don't care. Nobody cares. Just stop. You know, like that. Yeah. That is probably my number one pet peeve, is when people are extremely full of themselves. I can't stand it. It's one of those, it's a type of person where you meet them and you immediately notice that, and I will never like that person ever.
Mm-hmm. It's always funny too when they're bad. Like when they're, because there are some people that are like kind of like that, and there are some people who are just very much like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the ones that are really obvious, it's always funny to me because I'm like, dude, you're bragging about being so good at like something, or just in general, yet your social skills are abysmal because you don't realize how much everyone hates that you do this. Like, how it just bragging about being good at something that much when you're so bad at something else. It's like, you're so bad at social skills by virtue of the fact that you're bragging this hard that I actually don't care what else you're good at, because I don't respect you because you're that deficient in any area of your life, you know? Like, you could be the best whatever physicist, well, yeah, sure, on Earth, but like, I'm not jealous of you because I know how bad your social skills are. Like, it's just crazy. I don't know. I'm not explaining it well, but yeah.
I get what you're saying though. Yeah. Like when somebody feels the need to brag that much, if they're just as skilled as like the person next to them, I just never like the person who's bragging about it nonstop. I'm not going to like that person in any situation. So
I think it's like they expect you to be jealous, and it's like, I would never be jealous of you because of how bad your social skills are. Like, I would never want to be you. You're an idiot. Like, you should know that acting this way makes everyone dislike you.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be jealous of you because you're just off-putting. Anyway. Yeah. Moving on. Uh, let's see. Anything strike your fancy?
You didn't like the next question there from Jitsi?
We can answer it, yeah. Jitsi, do you have any specific memories associated with different Call of Duty maps? For example, Rundown reminds me of listening to Run This Town by Jay-Z in 10th grade. I have no idea why.
That's funny.
Interesting. Yeah, we can answer this.
Do you have any specific memories? I think... Yeah, I mean, nothing really weird like that. That's kind of a weird one. But it's just more like when I think of the map Crash, I think of myself sitting in my room at my parents' house back when, like, one time I was having this issue where, like, my PC would, I don't know, it would, like, basically overheat playing COD 4, and it would blue screen and restart. So, like, I remember playing when we would, like, scrim and stuff during the winter, and my PC was right, so it was, like, sitting right here, and the window was right there. So I'd always have the window open. I'd have the side case off of my PC, so my hand was just, like, frozen. But I was doing that to keep it so my PC wasn't overheating. But, like, when I, like, that, like, the memory is shared with the map Crash for some reason, because that's, like, my favorite map in COD 4. So, like, those two go hand in hand to me for some reason. Because, like, I had to do that for a really long time. And it was weird. Like, between matches, like, if I died or something in a round, and it's search, so you're waiting until the next round, I would Alt-Tab, and, like, it wouldn't make my PC crash. To this day, I still don't know what was happening. Because I did, like, monitor temperatures, and it wasn't overheating. But basically, like, if I kept the game open for too long, it would just blue screen. But none of the temperatures were high. But then, like, leaving my window open and stuff seemed to fix it. It was so weird. But anyways, that I always, like, that memory I think of often when I think of the map Crash for some reason.
That is weird. Yeah. I have only one thing came to mind when I read this, and it was playing BO4 with Tanner. We were I have two, actually. If I start thinking about BO4, I'll actually have a lot. But the one that I first thought of was playing on firing range. Tanner, for whatever reason, was playing with Firebreak, and he was running Molotovs, which no one did in BO4 because that was a pick 10 slot, and you didn't need to do that in that game. Like, no one ever used lethals. They just used their, like, so for Firebreak, it was the radiation. But there was actually, maybe that's not, I don't know. There was a Dark Ops challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you weren't playing as Firebreak. Or were you? There was a Dark Ops challenge where you had to kill an enemy Firebreak while he was ulting. So he had his flamethrower out with a Molotov. So I don't think you yourself had to be Firebreak.
No.
But you did have to have a Molotov set instead of your utility ability operator thing. So I remember you got it. And I was jealous. And I know even and I said as much, I was like, you dang it. Because it's such a cool, it's like maybe my favorite artwork for any of the calling cards.
I don't remember what the artwork looked like, actually.
It was like a guy throwing a molly. If you Google it, you'll immediately remember. And I even remember what building you were in.
I do too.
You were in by the shooting range at the back. With the moving things, that little trailer right there, that trailer, or whatever.
Yep. Where there's an entrance from mid and then an entrance from the right lane, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then you mollied the guy and you're like, oh, dude, I got the thing or whatever. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was when he's using the flamethrower or if it was when he was doing the other thing.
I think it was the flamethrower, and I think it was called Fight Fire with Fire.
Fight Fire with Fire. That sounds right. I gotta look at this artwork. Fight Fire with Fire. Why can I just not? Oh, there it is. Yes, that was really cool artwork. He's like standing there, like throwing a molly, and there's like flames all around him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, BO4 had fantastic artwork and just a fantastic calling card system.
showcase.
Yeah, all of
it was so good.
So many cool things that are still just missing from modern COD, and I don't understand why they don't bring them back.
Yeah.
Just basic. Like, hey, why do we have a showcase in this game when I can't ever see it? And I've set my showcase 10 times, and then I'll just randomly look one day, and it'll be reset. It'll all just be default. How come I can't just click on some guy's name when I'm loading into a multiplayer lobby and hit show? Like, show his showcase. No.
Yeah, we could do it 6 years ago,
it's
but
like
it's too hard now.
Report player or block player. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so many basic things were a lot better back then.
Yeah. Yeah. I have another specific memory on slums. I don't know why it's associated with slums, because we did it on every map, but there was a meta that Tanner and I went through where we both had our nuke calling cards, which very few people had in BO4. And this was pre-crossplay, so we were only playing against keyboard and mouse. So we did very well. And especially because we played together and sometimes with our friends too, who are also good. So we won all the time. But anyways, we had our new calling cards, and it also had custom emblems. So one of our custom emblems, I think, was the word pissed with a question mark. And then people would trash talk us in chat, in the text chat, all the time. This happened, by the way. Because again, everyone's playing on computer. So everyone's typing. Words are flying way more than they do these days. And I remember, for whatever reason, there was a game of slums where we didn't say anything. We were just playing the game. And then some guy on the other team was blood red mad because we were winning, I guess. And he typed something mad. And then we started to initiate Operation Pissed ? So the meta was, literally all you would do is someone would get mad at you and they would type something and they'd say, oh, you suck or whatever. And then you would open your text chat and you would say pissed ? All lowercase. And then they would respond in some way and they would be even more mad than their first message. And then you would respond pissed ? And that's all you did. And we would laugh at some of these people would keep responding like 8, 9, 10 times. They're just talking to themselves. Yep. Meanwhile, Tanner and I are in Discord crying, laughing at how stupid this guy is, because we're always going to say the same thing, pissed ? Yeah. And for whatever reason, Slums reminds me of that, because there was, I guess, a Slums game where that happened. God, it's like so fun, though.
They could be making great points, but you just reply with pissed, and then they're just typing sentences out. They're so mad. They're like, you guys aren't good. You think you're good. This, that, blah, blah, blah. And then you just keep saying it. Pissed? Sometimes you would let them send 2 or 3 messages, and you do it again. Pissed? Not say another word ever. Ever.
It was so funny. And it was just shocking how often people would constantly keep talking. I'm like, I almost never would be the first. I never, ever talk trash to people who are beating me, because that's what they want. So if they're shooting my body, if they're VoIPing, if they're typing in text chat to brag or whatever, if they're winning, I'm silent always, because I know that's what they want. They want me to say something. So even saying anything when I'm getting just run through is anathema to me. But if I were to do that, and they said pissed ? I again certainly wouldn't reply. But if I did, and then they said pissed ? again, I would figure out by then they're not going to say anything different. So I would be done typing. So it was always just amazing to me how long people would go. They would just keep talking. And it's like, dude, we're not replying to you. Like, what are you doing?
I like when people now, even in prox chat and stuff, they're like, oh my God, this guy's like so bad after you kill him. Because like he's saying that because he's mad that he died, and he knows you're not bad, but it's like he doesn't know what else to say. Because if it's like an actual really, really, really bad player that got like a lucky kill, they're never saying, oh, this guy's terrible. So like when people say that, it's so funny and it makes me laugh every single time, because they don't mean it and they're just getting
They're just
furious.
coping.
So it's great.
Yeah.
That's what lag needs to stop doing this. Lag all the
I
time
know.
still will go on proc channel and be
He
like,
pisses
you're
me
not
off.
good. You guys are stacking. I'm like, lag, stop. That's what they want. You're giving them what they want. It's so easy to just not say anything. God, it's so easy. That's the meta, though. That's the meta play, not say anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, we do in BO4. Sometimes we wouldn't say anything. These guys would start talking crap. We'd, of course, beat them. We would talk a ton of crap at the end of the game. Just laughing while we're doing it, though. Like, they think we're serious. They're taking it serious. We're just busting up laughing, just trolling them. The next game they win, we just back out or don't say a word.
Just silent.
Silent.
And then, oh, you guys are so quiet now, huh? What do you have to say now, huh?
And it's a
And we
great
were
point.
crying,
They're
laughing,
right, but it's because
not
we would
saying
troll
anything.
them. Yeah, it was so funny. Or like you'd be about to lose and you just back out. Oh, it was funny.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember in high school I used to do that. It was so childish, but we had in my friend group in high school, there were like 6 of us. And one of the friends, he had like the soccer mom who was like the cool mom. She was the cool mom. Like, you could drink at her house underage as long as you gave her your car keys first. She would make us like pancakes often. That's where the parties would be. She was like cool, but also like responsible. Not the cool mom because she's like 22 and like on meth. She was like fairly responsible, but the cool mom. Shout out Kevin Caldwell, Mrs. Caldwell, Mama Caldwell, as we called her. Anyways, we would go to his house after school all the time because he had like a disconnected little outhouse deal. I don't know what those are called because an outhouse is where you piss, shit, and fart. So
yeah,
I don't
what are you
know what it's
talking
called.
about?
You know, like you have a house, right? And then imagine in your backyard, there's another structure.
It's like a
it's
detached
like a
ADU
room.
or something, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have one of those.
Outhouse.
It had a bathroom, it had a little kitchenette, and it had like a living room area. So there was a computer in there, and then there was an Xbox with a huge TV. And we would always go play Halo after school. And not every time, but often, if I was losing or like my team was losing, so it was usually we would do 2v2s, so 4 players split screen. Huge TV, but still split screen. Anyway, if we were about to lose, I would like sprint to the Xbox and turn it off. I'd be like, unofficial. It was so dumb, but you would scream unofficial while you do it. And then you'd be like, oh, you didn't beat me. It wasn't official because I turned the game. I turned the game off before you got the last kill or whatever. It was so dumb and
Awful
childish.
person. Yeah.
Oh, man. And then everyone started doing it. And then we would just be like, dude, we have to restart the Xbox again because you're losing. It was so dumb. But yeah, like things like that. Anyway, I don't know. So, yeah. All right, let's move on here. Oh, man, that was fun. It was so dumb. Such a dumb, like, 15-year-old thing to do. Oh, man. Let's see.
You ever seen the Grand Canyon, man?
I have not. Not in person, anyway. Have you?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I have to ask you, how grand is it?
Oh, thanks for asking me, man.
Shout out Ox.
4. It's
4.
I would say it's a 4. Yeah, it's generally pretty overrated. Very, because there's nothing to really do there. That's the thing, you know. You see like a lot of people coming from out of country and like, oh, we're going to the Grand Canyon. Here's my pro tip for all you Brits listening, all you Brits and Euro frogs. If you have to choose like 1 or 2 national parks to visit in the United States, do not come here and go to the Grand Canyon ever. It's a hole in the ground. It's not that interesting. There are parts that are very pretty, but it's like there's not much to do. So just don't do it, right? There are like literally, it's like a bottom tier national park, so don't go there. People are baited by it though. That is one of those places, like you always say, why would I go there when I can just like look at a picture of it? That's literally the Grand Canyon, actually.
Yeah.
It's not that interesting in person, especially like living where we live and just like driving around here, driving to Nevada, the deserts of California. You see pretty hills and stuff all the time. I've seen a lot of pretty places just driving. The Grand Canyon, just a big Grand Canyon, not interesting. It's like you literally look at it in person, and you're like, oh, that's neat. See ya. 5 minutes, you're gone. It sucks. There's nothing to do there.
Yeah, that's the thing, is going somewhere just for like to look at it when I can just look at like better quality footage of also like more interesting spots at that landmark is way better.
Or like full screen like 4K like drone footage or something flying through.
Exactly.
That'd be more interesting. Yeah.
Because you can get a perspective that you wouldn't be able to get even if you were there. I think there are like, if you're like an outdoorsy person, there are very cool places to go that are pretty. But like you said, the reason to go there would also be because you could do something.
Yeah.
In addition to that.
Yeah.
So like if it's really pretty and you can do stuff, that makes sense to visit because then you can appreciate the beauty of it.
That's why Zion's
while you're doing
goated.
something.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So like if there's like a really cool or famous like, I don't know, river and you can go kayaking. Well, that makes total sense. Not for me, it's not my thing. But if you're that type of person, go there and go kayaking. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
But like, literally just to look at it, pass.
Yeah,
sure.
It's like where like the visitor center building is, it's just like a hole in the desert. It's not interesting. Don't go there.
You know what else kind of ruins all of these things too? Is other people.
There are a few people there, yeah.
If it were like the 17th century and I'm just like doing my nomad thing, and even if I know about it, but I like walk up to the Grand Canyon and it's just like me and my like family or friends or whatever, that would be it would actually be prettier if it were not like, here's the parking lot, here's the visitor building, this guy with the dreadlocks is selling like Nutri-Grain bars out of his trunk. It ruins the beauty of the thing.
Yeah.
When I can like smell the patchouli while I'm like trying to look at the massive landscape or whatever. It would be prettier if that all didn't exist also, which you can't really get, you know?
Dude, and then everyone like stopping everywhere to take pictures. That's another big one. Like, I promise you, your picture of Grand Canyon is never going to be interesting to you or anyone. Like, there are people, I feel like everyone always says this, like this is a common thing. They're like, oh my gosh, just like take something in instead of being on your phone. And that's annoying when people say that, but I really in general am that type of person. Because it's like, dude, what are you taking a million pictures of yourself in front of the Grand Canyon for? Like, just literally stand there and look and be like, wow, like this is cool. Take it in. Like, people are so weird and they spend all of their time doing that. And then it just ruins a lot of those places too. Like trying to go on hiking trails and it's like, okay, I have to stand here and wait for this person to take their picture. I'm like, just get out of the way, man. Just like literally walk around and enjoy it. It's weird. Like if you're going somewhere like that, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Grand Canyon sucks.
Yeah. If you want to take a picture of yourself being somewhere, okay. But if you're just taking pictures of the place, why? There are way better pictures of exactly what you're taking a picture of by professionals with $20,000 cameras or drone footage. Yeah. Like, you don't need this picture.
No,
bro.
You are never going to look back at it and think
7.
It's interesting.
Like, yeah, exactly. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I remember like 8th grade when we took our field trip to New York, Philadelphia, and DC. I remember like I had a little camera, little digital cam, and my mom was like, make sure like you get yourself and like your friends in the pictures. Like, don't just take pictures of stuff. Take pictures of you there and like friends, you with friends. I get back, she goes through my photo. I was in like one photo. She's like, why did you just take a bunch of pictures of buildings and stuff? She's like, why did you not take, like, why are you not in any of them? And I was like,
Yeah.
And it's like, if I would have been in those photos, I probably would look back now and be like, oh, these are cool. But now it's just like, okay, I took a picture from the top of the Empire State Building looking down.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing, man?
Yeah, it's like, who cares? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's actually really funny.
I think the Grand Canyon is just a big European bait. You guys just get baited on coming over here because of some big canyon. It's not interesting, trust me.
I think they're just astounded that it's bigger than like the entire continent of Europe.
And better. It's still more interesting.
The European mind can't fathom
yeah.
the scale of the Grand Canyon or the United States.
Yeah,
God bless America.
There's not a little road going through here, not a little stone road. That's weird. You guys have like miles of open land. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're better.
Yeah. Oh, in every way imaginable. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I kind of like this one from Bates, aka ranked racism in parentheses black man. So, got it. Bates is a black man.
So he's allowed to be racist? Is that kind of what we're thinking?
Well, I don't know, man. He's an Obsidian patron. I think that's why he's allowed to be racist against his own people. Bates is wild. Don't ask questions if you're in the Discord. And we delete the worst of it, trust me. Considering story and lore planning in general, how hard do you think it is to make a video game story or stories in general? I actually like this question a lot.
Wow. Yeah, see, so I like the first thought that comes to mind is Red Dead 2. And I think I feel like that storyline would actually be fairly easy to make. Like the general storyline. I think when it gets confusing is when difficult is when you add in a bunch of characters, a bunch of little side quests that all somehow have to tie into the main storyline, how to finish it, how to leave people feeling satisfied at the end instead of people saying like, oh, this was a great game up until the ending and then it was awful.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of movies and TV, like everyone now basically hates Game of Thrones forever because of the way it ended, So it's like if you mess up something so simple after making the perfect video game at the end,
it just ruins it all.
It will ruin all of it. Nobody will ever think highly of it again, at least to the extent it could have been. But it probably is very, very difficult. Yeah, you have to have quite the imagination to just design and create a story from nothing, I think. And that probably is pretty underappreciated by most people. I wouldn't be able to do that ever. No way.
Yeah. Like you said, it has to be coherent. So like it has to make sense, obviously. So there can't be like plot holes and stuff. And if you're writing a whole story for a video game or a comic book or a book or anything, it's pretty easy to make a plot hole on accident. So like just having a coherent story is like somewhat challenging, but then it also has to be like interesting, like people want to hear it. And that is, I think really, really, really hard. I was watching this video on Blood Meridian, which is a novel by James McCormick that was written in 1985. And it is about the American like South and this band of people who pre-Civil War, it's like the early 1800s, I think, who were they were like a gang basically, and the way they made money was selling native scalps to the Mexican government. So it's like a really dark story and really gory and like nasty. It's one of the American classics now, I think, by virtually any metric. Anyway, part of the interesting thing in that video was James McCormick, before he started writing it, he moved to Texas and spent 15 years just doing research and learning Spanish so that he could write the book in an accurate way. Meaning, what was life like back then, so that when I'm writing this book, it actually makes sense for the time period. So like there are things when you have to write a whole story, you have to know details of things. And that is super, I think, underappreciated and overlooked. So for example, if you want to write about going to a bar in Texas in 1820, what does that look like exactly? You have to like know about the entire world at that time to be able to write a chapter about that. Like, okay, you come up to the bar. Well, you're probably riding a horse. Okay. Or you're just walking. There were no cars. So there are obviously like the little things that you tie a horse to out front. You might overlook that. You go into the bar. What do you buy a beer with? Well, okay, wait. Did we have like United States dollars in the 1820s? Or was it a state by state currency? Do you know the answer? Because I actually don't. Like, I don't know what you would pay with if you wanted a beer in 1820 in Texas. I don't know what you would pay with. And how much would it cost? So let's say we figured out that it's a national economy, which I don't know the answer to, by the way. But let's assume it is. Sure. We got away from the state thing by now. Well, it's not $1. I know that. Like, it's way less than that. Is it 10 cents? Again, I have no idea. Is it a half pence? Is it a penny? So like, okay, whatever, you buy it. How is beer made at that time? How is it stored? Do they have the spigots like they have now?
Yeah.
Again, I actually don't know. I have no idea. And like, that's just literally like one sentence or two of how you would have to write that chapter. Think of all the stuff you have to know just to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is hard. Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So it made sense that he had to like research for 15 years. And that is like real life. Because then on the other hand, you could be writing a fictional story where you have to figure all that out on your own, which I think in some sense is actually easier because you can't really be wrong. You just have to be consistent. So like, oh, the year's 3000 and now we all pay by scanning, barcodes on our wrists or whatever. You like make stuff up, but still you'd have to like make a bunch of stuff up, a lot of lore, and it all has to make sense. It's super underappreciated when, all those little details, I think, like in historical fiction.
Yeah.
I find that all very interesting.
So supposedly it was 1792 when Congress passed the Mint Act, which established the coinage system of the United States and the dollar as the principal unit of currency.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
1792.
So I guess they would have paid
WUSD.
With a gold-backed currency at the time.
Yeah, how much was a beer back then?
Yeah, good question. You know what? Let's look it up. How much do you think? I'm guessing it was 5 cents. That's what I'm going to guess.
I was thinking like 1 or 2
in 1820. In the 1820s, whiskey was sold for 25 cents a gallon.
Oh, a gallon. Okay, I was going to say 25 cents. That's a ton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, 25 cents a gallon. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So it says here also, in 1870, a glass of beer cost about 10 cents.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe 2 cents, maybe 5, something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to load up Red Dead, see what they're charging.
Yeah. But I just find all that stuff so fascinating. All those little details that you have to get right.
Yeah. They have a lot of details.
There do be details. So anyway. Let's see. So yeah, I think writing a story is super, super, super hard. Because again, you have to get all that right, and then it has to be an interesting story. Because no one would care about Blood Meridian if it got all the details right and sucked, you know, like, so yeah, I think it's incredibly difficult. So anyway, this is a good question from Jacob. Do you generally play maps the same way every time, as in go to the same areas or run around, or do you run around chasing people? Let's do just some punctuation next time, Jake, but yeah.
Stop. Yes. Yeah, I do play the maps mostly the same. And I think everyone does to an extent.
I think so too.
Like everyone has, let's take Warzone for example. Everyone has their areas now on Urzikstan where you land. If you play Resurgence, you have your area on Nashika, Vondel, or Fortune's Keep where you usually land. You have a couple of them. There are areas where like you basically just don't ever go and you don't know that area well at all. Yeah, so like Urzikstan for us, usually it's landing is either cargo, Old Town, Low Town, or sometimes Trump Tower and Downtown. There are actually like just 4 spots we land. That's it. If we're just playing the game like normal, there are 4 spots we go. Nothing else. So yeah, you do usually play it the same, and then you like go between them. So if we land cargo, we balloon, go towards Old Town. Hit the balloon in Old Town. If you don't see anybody, go towards Low Town. Usually still haven't seen anyone because Warzone does in fact need more players than 100. So then at that point, you start just looking around and begging for anyone to be somewhere on the map that you can shoot at. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are areas of Urzikstan that I just don't know well at all. The northwest corner of the map, don't know it well at all. At all.
I love the area, but the game is never there. Yeah.
Yeah, that area, and then like the area down by like suburbs, there are a lot of areas like downtown going into suburbs, don't know that area very well. Yeah. So there are definitely, I think most people kind of have their areas and they stay there. Even just like, you can even say that about multiplayer maps like Shoot House. Like, how would you play Shoot House? What routes do you take? It's like the same thing every time.
Yeah. 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 In Warzone, yeah, I agree. I mean, once you've played for a while, you have your favorite landing spots, and then usually you loot up wherever you are, and then you have your go-to place where you loot up next, and you do that. And then you have your go-to buy station, and you go to that. And then you have your go-to balloon, and then you go to that. And then that's where it kind of starts opening up and having some variability. But like that starting kind of procedure is always the same for sure.
Yeah.
But again, Warzone forces you to have some variety a lot of times, just depending on where the circle is and where people are and stuff. And I think that's part of the reason Warzone is fun, is because it makes you experience new things, even if you wouldn't otherwise. But like, yeah, multiplayer, I generally play maps the same way every single time, and I never like won't.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm thinking of slums for whatever reason, but if I'm playing slums like Dom, if I spawn here, I'm going here, here, and then there, and then when I die, I'm respawning and going there, there, and there. Every time.
Yeah.
All the time. Every single one. Yeah. I never like deviate from that unless you're like spawn camping. And then at that point, yeah, sure. I'm spawn camping, I guess. But like, yeah, always play the same way pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Let's see. Urban asked a bizarre question. Will you buy and play GTA 6 given the sheer playtime it takes to finish the story? Is it worth it as an adult?
I mean, yeah. It's not like you have to.
You make it sound
like you have
like
to finish it in a week.
Yeah, he makes it sound like the sheer playtime should make me not want to buy it. Don't you want it to be long if you're buying it? What? I don't understand how it's like a bad thing.
The average person that plays any like online multiplayer game like Call of Duty, they put way more hours into playing COD than they ever will into GTA 6, of course. So yeah, that's a plus, having a really long game, and I hope it is very long.
I don't know why it's framed this way.
I hope the main storyline of GTA 6 is like 100 hours long, because I'm pretty sure the last GTA was like, oh, maybe I'm thinking of Red Dead, was like 50 to 60 hours or something. I don't remember what GTA was, but I would love for it to be super long if it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's for story games. I play extremely long games. I like extremely long games. I don't know how you could possibly frame this as a bad thing, Urban. But anyways, will I buy and play GTA 6? Yeah, probably. Probably.
I'm actually way less likely to play a single player game if it's shorter. Like, that's why I didn't play the MW3 campaign, because I'm like, I played this for an hour, it sucks, it's boring, it's 6 hours long, I'm not going to get anything out of it, why would I even continue?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to waste my time downloading it or waste my money on a game I'm going to play once for 6 hours. It's like, I want it to be long. A lot of my favorite games are very long. Not necessarily because they're long, but they just happen to be,
Yeah.
Like the newest RPG that came out, Rogue Trader, it's like 130 hours to finish that game. It's a long game. And that's not the longest game I've played. But yeah, that's like a good thing. So anyway, yeah, I'll probably buy it. I just wish you could create a character in Grand Theft Auto for the story. I know you can't in that type of game, but God, it would be nice. It'd be super cool. Feels like even more RPG like.
Yeah.
Is Grand Theft Auto classified as a role-playing game? I don't know if it is.
Let's see. Let's do a bit of research here. It's according to Wikipedia, it just says, action adventure game. That's what it says there. Yeah, genre, action adventure, and then modes, just single player, multiplayer. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember how long the last GTA storyline was. Maybe only like 30 hours or something. But yeah, no, if they came out and said GTA 6 it's a 100-hour storyline and the game's also $100 instead of $60, I'm still buying it. People always make it a big deal when it comes to the price of video games, and then so often people don't think how much time they can and will put into those, and it's a great deal, So we've talked about that a lot. Like, people will go out to dinner with their spouse and spend easily $60, $80 on just a dinner at some restaurant. That's literally one meal out of your day. One meal. Even if you have to pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6 to play the game for potentially thousands of hours, if you get into mods, multiplayer, relax. The price of video games is so cheap for how much you can potentially get out of them. So
I totally agree. It's insane. Video games could cost, with some exceptions, but not many, video games could cost $200 and they would still be worth it. Just go look at your hours played.
Yeah.
It for sure. 200's a lot, but still, someone said, some famous guy once, it might have been Christopher Hitchens. I don't think it was, but someone smart. He was like, you should go see movies because movies cost $50 million to create, and you can experience it for $10. That's a pretty good deal. You should do that.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Way to think about it. Yeah,
it is an interesting way to think about it, and there is it's obviously kind of reductive, but there's some truth to that. It's dude, this a Netflix subscription. It costs you whatever. I I think they're raising their prices. I don't know, $20 a month to watch Netflix. But meanwhile, you're watching TV shows like Game of Thrones. It's like that season you just watched in total was like, yeah, like $20 million to make or whatever. Like, that's a pretty good deal. And it's true. It's like, it's kind of it's a funny way to frame it, but it's kind of cool. And the same thing can be said for video games.
Haven't some of these newer movies costed like $300 million to make or something?
Yeah.
What movie was that recently that cost that much money?
Oh boy, I don't know if they make movies that expensive these days. Because
maybe it was Oppenheimer was like 300 mil, and they talked about it a lot or something.
I remember Avatar being extremely expensive.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Let's see. Let's look at the top 3. I got a list here. I don't know how old this article is, but number 1, Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
What is it?
Oh, there's an ad playing. $533 million.
Dude.
In 2015 or whatever it just said. 2017.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude.
It's all to make one video file, to make an MP4. It cost them $500 million.
Jesus.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It all comes down, at the end of the day, Star Wars: The Force Awakens is someone's like project file in Adobe Premiere, and then they render it, and it's an MP4 file. Like, that's crazy. It's not actually, but kind of. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
We have a super chat question here. Let's see. So Biggie, thank you very much for the $4.99.
Almost enough.
Yeah, almost enough. Yeah. Would you rather always have to ask someone what their name is every time you interact with anyone, or after every interaction you have to say big fan? Okay.
Big fan for sure.
Yeah, because if it's every single time you interact, then yeah, I don't want to ask them that every single time. So it's definitely big fan. Plus, saying big fan is great. Hey, big fan, man.
Yeah, it's faster too. You just be like, oh, all right, I'll see you later, man. Big fan. And then you're gone. You're out.
Big fan. It's not like a whole thing. Yeah. It like doesn't become an entire discussion.
And they think you're just kind of a goofy, silly guy instead of thinking you have early onset dementia. So that would be better probably too.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat. Biggie Smalls. How many more do we got in us, Tanner?
I got a bit more.
Okay.
I like Steele's next question. Got our first food question of the day, maybe?
Wow.
That's what we're missing out today. Missing out on.
That's incredible. It's incredible. Rank these breads. Oh, okay. Here we go. Naan, which is like the Indian pita bread, basically. Sourdough. Whole wheat. Stop. Baguettes. It's French, I would guess. Ciabatta. And then pita.
So, okay. Right away, I'm going to have to remove naan from the list because I've never actually had it. It looks absolutely delicious, though, and I'm sure I would love it. I have never in my life eaten Indian food, though. Because there aren't many places that sell it at all around here. There are like no places, so I've never had it.
There's a good place across the street from the Albertsons, actually.
Yeah, there is a place there, but it doesn't have great reviews online, so I've kind of always wondered about it. I don't know how they're still in business.
And it was good.
There's nobody ever in there, but I should try it sometimes. You should. It's good. I've always wanted to. There was a place in Big Bear, actually, a restaurant in downtown Big Bear that a lot of people would say it was one of the best restaurants up there, and it was an Indian place. But I've just never personally had it. Naan looks excellent, though, so I feel like it'd be very highly rated, but I can't rate it.
Yeah. Think of Indian food like it's kind of like Thai food, except their curry is thicker than Thai curry.
Yeah.
So if you like the kind of creamier, thicker, if you can imagine a curry that's like thicker and a little less spicy in general, I would say that's Indian food. And then everything else is very similar.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, naan looks bomb,
but it's good.
Though. But if I had to rank them, oh boy, this is tough. Number one's got to be either sourdough or a little French baguette.
This is hard.
Probably sourdough though, because I feel like you can do a little bit more with it. You can do toast. You could do grilled cheese. I just feel like it has more utility, maybe. Oh, they're both so good though.
I mean, a baguette, you're really only doing bread and butter, or you're like using it as sandwich bread.
And it's great for a sandwich,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably sourdough though, but I could go either way on those. After that, it's probably gonna be ciabatta. Whole wheat sounds gross, but there are a ton of good wheat breads now. Actually, the sandwich bread that I always buy is golden wheat, which I guess actually technically isn't whole wheat, so maybe that's why it's good. So never mind. Forget I said that. Whole wheat's last.
Got it.
So it's gonna go sourdough / baguette, one of those two. Ciabatta, pita, whole wheat. I mean, pita has like, when do you eat it? Just when you get like Mediterranean
I like
food.
Mediterranean a lot.
That's what I'm saying, but it doesn't.
Really like
it's got zero utility. You're never going to the store and just buying pita and eating it with something, you know. So that's why it's down there. It's good though. It's good to dip in your little hummus. Get some rice. Get a little piece of little chicken on there. Eat that. A great bite.
Hummus.
W hummus. Yes, I agree.
It's so good. I love hummus, dude.
Yeah.
Especially when they put the little they make the little hummus like kind of valley in the center, and then they put a bunch of olive oil in it.
And whatever else they put in it, yeah.
And all the other goofy spices they put in there, yeah. Ooh, it's good, dude.
The place I always go is
lover of hummus.
They put a little like peppercini or something in the middle. Is that normal, or is that just that place? Because it's the only place I get Mediterranean. Do you ever see that?
Peppercini. I've never seen
It's some sort
that,
of little
no.
peppery sticks in there.
No, I've
like
never
a whole
seen that.
pepper. It's got the stem on it, but it's a short little guy. I mean, the pepper is like an inch long.
Like a little
It looks
seen
similar
that,
to a peppercini, but peppercini are usually a lot bigger, so I don't know what it is.
There are a lot of places have like spicy hummus. So
a lot of places do like the roasted red pepper. It's not that though, because that's not the color. Yeah, I don't know what they put in it actually. I don't know what that is, but it's delicious.
Good question. Yeah, I believe it. Hummus is so good. It's so slept on too. It's like pretty good for you also, I think. Not the pita bread so much, but the hummus. Really good. Anyway. Yeah, this is so hard. They're all like situational.
I
Whole wheat
love
is at
bread.
the bottom.
Yeah.
So first of all, start there. And then yeah, beyond that, it's all situational. It's like if I'm having Indian, I really only want naan with that. And then sourdough has its own uses. Ciabatta, I know I've had ciabatta, but I can't like think of what it's like right now.
Ciabatta,
I know I like it though.
It goes head to head against a baguette for a great sandwich. It's maybe better because a little baguette is like, sometimes it can be too crunchy almost for a sandwich, whereas ciabatta is not quite that crunchy. It's got great texture though. It's kind of a little bit harder on the outside, usually real soft and fluffy. It's got great flavor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I just refuse to rank them. They're all so good, except whole wheat.
Bread.
They have their own place. W bread. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What is a Rocky Mountain oyster? I know I've heard that, but I don't know what that is, what that means.
Those are bull testicles, I think. No, I would.
It is a dish made of bull testicles. Okay.
I would try it.
Deep fried after being skinned and coated in flour. I mean, it's deep fried, so it can't be that bad, I'll be honest with you.
The problem for me is that since I know they're testicles, I would be thinking about my own balls being chewed the whole time, and it would freak me out too much. The idea that they are like balls doesn't bother me at all. But the like, yeah, I'd keep thinking about my own balls and them being chewed, and that really makes me squeamish and freak out, and so I couldn't eat them for long. I would try it though. Yeah.
I wonder
I'd
what the
try it.
texture is like though. Like, do you think they're real chewy? Because I would not like it if they're chewy. Then I'm thinking about it too much.
I'm thinking about my balls being chewed.
Let me chew on your balls. Yeah. On that topic, have you ever had oysters?
I have not had oysters. I want to try them though.
They're uninteresting. Yeah, they're very uninteresting. They taste like nothing.
I've heard they're uninteresting.
They're just very chewy, and whatever you put on it, you taste that. It's total cap. I don't know why people spend money on oysters. It's an insane thing to do.
Yeah. Next one I'd love to answer from Urban, because it's not a good question. What's a better pay period, weekly or bi-weekly? Here's an idea. Stop living beyond your means.
Bi-weekly.
Shouldn't matter.
I think bi-weekly. Weekly, it would feel, I don't know, like the paychecks are too small. Bi-weekly is like perfect.
Unless you're living paycheck to paycheck, it literally doesn't matter at all to me. I have never understood.
Keeps live reacting to me, man. Somebody just did a little live reaction.
Do a live reaction.
Is that Steele or Pat? One of them.
Could be Alex. He's active.
No, because it's got two reactions, and it's either Steele or Pat. On that Urban's question, they just did that little the bread reaction.
Oh, in Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's see. Pat asked, what's the risky food you'll eat at your computer, if any at all? I eat everything at my computer. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
you can always
it's not like I'm like sitting here with a bowl or a plate right above my keyboard. So it's like I either have it next to me or like over here. So I mean, almost anything, yeah.
Literally anything for me. You can just clean any whatever if it gets like messy.
If you really mess it up, yeah.
Yeah, which has never happened to me before, so it's like, I don't know. Just get some monitor cleaner. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. From Rain, I'm relatively new to COD. Is there anything you guys look for on kill cams to spot cheaters? I never know if it's a clean kill or not. This is a great question. So it's a kind of a complicated answer. Depends, first of all, on if you're looking for an aimbot or wall hacks. And if you're looking for aimbot, unfortunately now, unless it's blatantly obvious, you'll never know because aim assist is going to look identical. But like back in BO4, we would watch kill cams, and sometimes some guy would kill us and it would look like aim assist, but we were playing keyboard and mouse only on BO4. So we would be like, oh, this guy's aimbotting. He's cheating. Because it's obvious, because his reticle just stays directly on our like solar plexus, no matter where we're moving or anything. But these days, it's impossible to tell, because aim assist is doing the same thing. As a controller player, I know that, by the way. I main controller, so you can't get mad at me for saying aim assist looks like aimbot, because it does. And I'm a controller player. Walling, on the other hand, is different, and it's context dependent. So like, I can't just watch a kill cam with no context and be able to tell you if that guy was walling or not. But in context, you absolutely can. So for example, if I'm running covert sneakers and I'm ghosted and I have a silencer and they don't have an advanced UAV in the air and I run around a corner and I immediately get shot and I watch the kill cam and he was pre-aiming there, for no reason, and none of my other teammates are over there, so he had no reason to expect I was coming this way. Okay, well, with all of that context, that guy's probably walling. Because why would you be pre-aiming that angle? But the other thing is, there are some angles that are going to be smart to pre-aim, even if you don't know anyone's coming, that are like popular angles. So like, if you are playing search on invasion and you run to the left lane and just start running it down mid, and then you get sniped, and then you watch the kill cam and the guy was pre-aiming it, that guy's probably not walling. Like, duh, he's going to pre-aim that. You're playing search off spawn, and this is one of like the 2 ways you could go, or like 3 ways you could go. So it's all context dependent, but basically if people are pre-aiming weird angles or weird spots and they should have no reason to be doing that and they shouldn't know you're there, that's when you know they're walling. That's what you look for.
Yeah. The thing that's unfortunate now is the kill cams, like in Warzone 2, don't work very well in that they will randomly skip. So like there will always be people that don't play the game often that they're watching a kill cam, and for some reason the kill cam just like skips a number of milliseconds, and so it looks like somebody all of a sudden snaps onto you and like basically they teleported, but that's not the case. It's just every kill cam is buggy right now, and it doesn't actually show frame by frame what happened. Like it literally skips things, and so it'll make it look like somebody's snapping onto you when they're actually not. It's just a busted kill cam. But the truth is, as mad as a lot of people will get, it is hard to tell when it comes to the aiming stuff, because like that video we went over of the guy soft aiming, I am dead serious. Standard aim assist looks more like a cheat after watching that soft aim. It really, truly does. And if you disagree with that, then we watch different videos, because aim assist does look more like aimbot than the soft aim aimbot did. That's what's really, really funny about it. Now, granted, he had like the settings turned way down supposedly, so like it wasn't super sticky, but that guy was literally aimbotting, and he's still going to miss more shots up close than a 1.5 KD controller player. That's the wild thing, right? But anyways, it is hard to tell, even with like walling, because like, again, everyone's audio setup is entirely different, so maybe you didn't hear, like you wouldn't have been able to hear that guy, but he's got, I don't know, he's running loudness EQ or some setup, and he has the best headset on the market and could hear something that you literally can't hear in game, but he can. There are so many variables. It's really difficult. And they're also, it's nice now that in Warzone it shows the live pings in the kill cams too, because people would always call somebody a wall hacker, but it was really because they were live pinged and you couldn't see that in the kill cam. So now you can see that, but there's just a lot of like weird cheese things too. Like in the weapons case mode, for example, when you're holding the weapons case, it tracks you. It shows where the person is. If they're behind a wall and I aim at the wall, it shows weapons case and it's like 13 meters away. So like this happened 2 days ago. I started just wall banging this guy, and I was hearing him on VoIP as he like ran away. He's like telling his teammates, no, this guy's cheating. This guy's walling. But it's like, no, you show up on the map. Literally, when I look at the wall, I see weapons case and it tells me how far away you are, so I'm gonna wall bang it, right? So there are so many cheese little mechanics in Call of Duty as well that makes it actually difficult to tell when somebody's cheating, because a lot of people are just clueless as to how the game works. Yeah, it's like, how have you ever queued for the weapons case mode and you never paid attention that it tracks exactly where you are on the map at every single second of that match, you know?
Yeah.
But it's
that's true too.
It's hard.
You're right.
It's hard to tell, and especially with COD having kill cams, people that are actually cheating usually try to make it not look sus. Like in older games or like other games where there aren't kill cams, you just can't tell. And so they can get away with doing more sus things because there's no kill cam showing what happened. So people now also just are kind of forced to hide it more in COD because of that reason. So it's hard to tell generally, honestly.
Yeah. And also, like, their teammate could have said in voice, there's a guy coming this way.
Yeah.
Or something, too. That's another thing.
There could be his teammate could be floating, landing on you, and tries to live ping you, but they don't get the live ping on you. So instead, they're like, he's right there on my green ping. You don't see that in the kill cam. So you're like, how does this guy know I'm here? Well, his buddy's 300 meters in the air floating, trying to mark you and saying right where you are. So there's so many variables. It is hard to tell.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Ricochet
true.
works, though, so you don't have to worry about any of that.
Ricochet. Yeah. So, anyway.
I think we're done unless we can end on a solid one here.
Yeah, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, no, we're done.
Okay.
Who's this travel country? That one's kind of interesting. If we pull up a list, we can start that next time. If you were to travel to one country in each of the 6 or 7 continents, what countries would they be?
I'll do a pin.
Do a pin on that one, yeah. We'll start with that next time.
We've done a pin. All right. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. As I said, some COD talk, some not. You'll figure it out. We'll see you next week. Next week should be more exciting in terms of Call of Duty.
Season Reloaded, yeah.
Season Reloaded. There's going to be a lot to talk about on Thursday for episode 407. And then on 408, next Saturday, we will be doing, almost certainly, Season 2 Reloaded First Impressions. So stick around for that. And stay arrogant. Just kidding. Stay humble.
Stay humble.